is the RC Jet Jock. Oh, I just broke it. What's going on, guys? Jet Jock here. Now, before we get to the 310 episode, I just want to talk about last week's episode. We had awesome comments, great suggestions from you guys. Y'all were so kind, especially since I butchered that landing pretty good. But in particular, we had one subscriber that asked if that was really my first turbine flight. And yes, it sure was. And we were on a buddy box. I was with my instructor. So we were going as per the AMA guidelines for the turbine program. And in fact, in an episode coming up really soon, we're going to go over all those guidelines and rules for the turbine program, so y'all understand the complete process as y'all are going through it with me as I get my turbine waiver. All right, so y'all ready? Let's get to that 310. All right, guys, we're heading over to the shop right now to go pick up our Topflite 310. We're going to start working on this project. We're going to start off by airing up the gear. So we're going to get our car-powered air compressor, and we're going to power up those gear and see if they work. This was our first experience airing up retracts. I didn't realize that all we needed to do was a simple adjustment to the Schrader valve to get it to work with the fittings on my compressor. I suppose I could have made things easier for myself by dragging the airplane closer to the car, but hey, it was morning and I was feeling lazy. Now let's see if it works. Alright guys, so looks like we figured out the situation here on the landing gear. So we're going to go ahead and give you a nice video of the landing gear in action. Here we go. Let's get the radio. I don't have a lot of experience with these air retracts, but I'm pretty excited. They actually actuate pretty cool. And there it is. All right, next up we'll be taking off the cowlings and figuring out the electric system, and then we'll be doing taxi tests. Stay tuned. All right guys, we're heading in the shop this morning to hopefully do some motor runs and some taxi testing. Now we're going to get the airplane ready for the taxi tests. First things first is we have to go inside the wings to plug in the receiver battery and the lights battery. After we get the wings bolted back on, we're going to move on to the power packs. We're going to use two HRB 6S 5000 milliamp packs. They are loaded from the underside of the nacelles and held in place by two pieces of wood that are screwed into the frame. All right, guys, it appears we got everything hooked up, so let's give these engines a run. Let's listen to them. That sounds pretty good. I like it. That's only half power. All right, guys. Well, that was a really successful taxi test, and thank you, Loogie Girl, for doing that filming. That was awesome. The only issue is it takes a really long time to get those batteries in and out. So I think I'm going to have to call it, and it's going to take a little bit longer before we made in the 310. We're going to have to do some modifications for battery racks and all that good stuff. So stay tuned, and we're going to keep it coming. Let's talk about what we're going to do. When the original owner of the airplane handed it over to us, he said it was extremely nose heavy. So out of convenience and possibly necessity, we'll move the receiver pack and the lights batteries to the aft baggage door. And it'll be more of a scale location anyway. Now let's talk about those dreaded power packs. That took way too long to load from underneath. Flipping the airplane and moving those little pieces out of the way were kind of a pain. So we're going to relocate those to a hatch to the top of the nacelle. And lastly, as you can see here, all that lead shot in there, just in case it's still too nose heavy, we'll chisel some more out. Let's get to work. We're going to pull those spinners off, get those props off. We're going to get those nacelles out of the way to expose those battery bays. And we're going to remove those little pieces of wood, and we're going to replace them with a plywood floor. Sorry guys, I didn't film that because I forgot to hit the record button when I was installing the plywood floors. Like they always say, the first cut is the deepest, and boy, that is true. It sure was a leap of faith to start cutting on this beautiful airplane. We were using our Dremel with a grinder attachment. Then, for the rounded corners, since obviously the disc was too big, we had to go in with an X-Acto knife, and boy was that fiberglass hard to cut through. But we were happy with the product whenever we finished. As you'll see here in a second, once we popped this door off, to our excitement, there was a structural stinger that runs the entire length of the fuselage. That is going to be a great place to attach our battery bay. Now it's time to start cutting out the power pack hatch. As you can see, we used painter's tape to line the shape of the hatch, and that was nothing more than just to keep our cut straight as we were going across, since there was no identifying features on the nacelles for us to follow to begin with. Now it's time to start cutting the plywood for the receiver battery compartment floor. As you can see that we're lining our cuts right now. Because the battery compartment is tapered towards the tail, we had to take measurements from the front of the compartment and in the back of the compartment across the fuselage so we can get those angles correct. That way, it fits inside there with no weird holes for wires to snag on, and also it can add a structural element to the plane. Now let's bust out that industrial size bottle of Gorilla Glue and get that compartment floor glued into place. Once we get the fit right, we'll clamp it in so it doesn't move as the glue expands. Now it's time to glue the pre-hinged power pack compartments to the nacelles. A word of caution when using Gorilla Glue with hinges, always keep checking on them periodically to wipe off the glue as it expands. It could cause your hinges not to work. Now we're drilling the hole where the rare earth magnet will eventually be seated. We will add another one to the outside of the door, which will hold the door in place during flight. This airplane came with a manual engine shutoff system. It was a Dean's plug that ran along the hot wire going to the motor. We didn't like that setup because we know the reputation of Dean's plugs and high voltage, and we didn't want to take any chances with their model. So we cut that system out, we soldered the wires back together for a conventional setup. Now Chicken Girl and I are putting the nacelles back on and getting this airplane ready for balance. Not shown, we also added the magnets for the power pack hatches. Instead of just one magnet, we used two per hatch since they were so large. Also not shown in this video, we added some Velcro strips to the floor of the power pack bays. This will ensure that if this airplane decides to do any aerobatic maneuvers or hit some extreme turbulence, the batteries won't be ejected through the hatch. Well, it's looking like I'm a little bit panicked and possibly stumped. Let's see what's going on. All right, guys, as you can see, we're tail heavy. I thought it was going to be too nose heavy, but apparently not. So what we're doing right now is we're creating a bulkhead. I just cut some wood, I put it in the nose here. It's not that impressive of a cut or anything, but it's gonna go up against the landing gear bulkhead here. And we're gonna put our batteries in the nose because we found out that we actually got CG with them all the way up front. So we're gonna create a little hatch up in the nose and a little place to mount them up there. And then hopefully we'll get CG tomorrow, and hopefully we'll still be on track for a maiden this weekend. All right, guys. Hopefully this works. All right, it's time to re-crack those wings again and get some servo extension leads, because the leads that we were running to that aft cargo, which was a much more convenient location, were not long enough to make it all the way up front. Now we're going to get our handy dandy metal wire to go string through the inside of the fuselage and pull those servo leads all the way to the nose so we can get to our proper CG location. Yes, this was disappointing, but it would have been a lot more disappointing if we would have lost this beautiful model because it was tail heavy. Yeah, it's less convenient, but it works. now that we got those wires strung through, yeah, that was kind of frustrating, but we got it done. We're going to go ahead and put those batteries in the hole, and we're going to see if we have balance. And if we do, we're going to do a proof of concept right when we're done. So let's check it out. All right, there goes our... Yeah, you like that airplane? That's our jet.
What is this thing?
That's what opens and closes the nose.
Oh.
All right, so. All right, here we go. Fingers crossed. We'll see if it's balanced this time. All right, so one of those little marks that we made. There's one. Two. All right, here we go. Slightly nose heavy. I would rather be slightly nose heavy than tail heavy. I think we have got it. All right, well, let's do proof of concept next. So the whole point of this whole operation here was to make it easier at the airfield. So yeah, this is kind of a pain, but we'll live with that because we only have to plug those batteries in once. We have these great handy dandy switches back here. But our flight batteries, anyway, our flight packs in our nacelles here, that's a whole different story. I don't want to have to flip it over before every flight. So we're going to take the flight batteries out. We're going to bring the airplane out to the front, and then we're going to install them, power up the airplane, and see if it made our lives easier. So come on, let's check it out. A lot lighter without the batteries in there.
Probably the batteries that making it heavy. How heavy are those two batteries? How much do you...
They're as heavy as this entire plane.
Whoa!
Okay, here we go. Coming out the door.
Going down the slide.
Ooh, there's a chain and a thing there.
Yes, we
All
see
right,
that.
so let's go bring it out front. Come on. All right, guys, so this is how we're gonna arrive at the field. Like I said, this should be able to fit in my truck, no problem. So we've got that guy on. All right, so we're gonna put the batteries in, okay? Now, kill switch is engaged, but we're gonna come from behind just to be safe, right? I'll always be safe, right?
Yeah.
Are you too close, dude? All right, so here we go.
There's a ton of flies out here.
Well, because they know we're not gonna fly. That was bad. All right, here comes battery number one.
Probably right whenever the propellers start moving, they're gonna fly away.
All right, there's one.
Number two is over here. Such a beautiful plane.
It is a beautiful plane, huh? They like that landing light in the front, huh?
It's cool. What?
I don't know. I'm not sure if it's gonna run. Nothing clicked on that time. We shall see. We'll see if they got it hooked up right. Not they, me. All right, so that's a guy snug fit in there, okay?
Usually you never
All right,
get it
so
right.
that's all I'll have to do at the airfield, and that's what this modification did. So it should be a lot easier. All right, Luca girl, you ready?
Yep.
Let's see how this thing works now. Okay, kill switch is off. Oh, they both turn. That's good, right?
Mm-hmm. Now let's
right.
see if it will move the plane.
Put the flaps down just for cool looks. Here we go.
Such a quiet plane. Now it's not.
It's a dirty plane.
Yep, that's what it is, Dusty. We should name it Dusty. Dusty the plane. Got some moo-moos back there. Running into us.
Stay down. All right, guys. Well, that was our run up. I'm not sure how successful it was. I'm not sure if we're making enough power or not. So I guess the only way to find that out is to actually get it on the pavement. But before we do that, we're going to try to calibrate the ESC. So we'll show y'all doing that prior to our maiden flight of our Cessna 310. Please get your families involved. They love it. They love working on the airplanes with you, right, girls?
Yep.
You like it too? Yep. Especially having a pit crew. They're awesome. And also get new people involved. That's going to help us grow the hobby too. And please don't forget, can you tell them what to say at the end? Tell them.
Like, share,
And?
subscribe.
That's right. Like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Leave some comments. We love the comments. We'll see you guys. Bye. Say bye, Luca girl.
Bye.